Tonight, when the sun goes down, you are going to do something your ancient ancestors never did. You are going to keep living as if it is still daytime. You are going to scroll, watch, eat, talk, argue, and stare at glowing rectangles until your body gives up and forces you unconscious. But for almost all of human history, the night was a completely different world. And what your ancestors actually did inside it might be the strangest thing you have never been told. Here is what most people assume. Ancient humans worked during the day, then collapsed exhausted into sleep the moment darkness fell. It sounds logical. No electricity means no light means no life after sunset, but that assumption is almost entirely wrong. The night for your ancestors was not empty, it was not silent, and it was not spent in 8 unbroken hours of unconscious rest. The real answer is far stranger than that. In 2015, a researcher named Jerome Siegel published a study in Current Biology that changed how scientists think about sleep and the human past. Siegel and his colleagues at UCLA traveled to 3 pre-industrial societies: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. These were groups living without electricity, without artificial light, without alarm clocks. If any humans on Earth were sleeping the way your ancient ancestors slept, it was them. What the researchers found shattered the assumption that natural human sleep is a single, long, unbroken block. The average sleep duration across all 3 groups was between 6.5 and 7.25 hours. Not 8, and almost none of them went to sleep the moment darkness fell. They waited. On average, these communities did not begin sleeping until about 3 hours and 20 minutes after sunset. Think about what that means. Every night, in the complete absence of electric light, your closest living analogs to ancient humans chose to stay awake in the dark for more than 3 hours before lying down. Something was happening in those hours. Something was worth staying up for. To understand what, you have to go further back. Not to the Hadza or the San. Back to the Paleolithic. Back to the campfire. Because the campfire is, according to anthropologist Polly Wiessner of the University of Utah, one of the most important inventions in human history, not just for warmth or protection, but for what it did to the dark. Wiessner spent decades studying the Zhu Huanzi, another group of modern hunter-gatherers, and she noticed something striking about the way their conversation changed between day and night. During the day, people talked about practical things: work, complaints, economic exchanges, resource disputes. But when the fire was lit, something shifted. Wiessner's analysis, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in 2014, found that nighttime firelight conversation was dominated by something almost entirely absent from daytime talk: stories. Not gossip, not logistics. Stories, myths, accounts of distant places, imagined worlds, histories of ancestors, moral lessons wrapped in narrative. Wiessner estimated that while storytelling made up only 7% of daytime conversation, it accounted for more than 80% of nighttime talk around the fire. Your ancestors gathered in the dark, and they narrated the world to each other. The night was when culture was transmitted, when identity was formed, when the invisible rules of the group were reinforced through fiction and parable and shared imagination. And here is what makes this even more remarkable. Firelight is not like daylight. It does not illuminate the practical world. It does not help you see which plant is edible or which animal is approaching. What firelight does is create faces. It makes the human face the most visible thing in any environment. It draws the eye to expression, to emotion. And Wiessner argues this is precisely why night became the time for social bonding. The fire forced you to look at each other, to read each other, to feel each other's reactions in real time. Your brain, shaped by millions of years of evolution, was not built for isolation. It was built for the fire circle. But there is another dimension to the ancient night that most people never hear about, and it has to do with how your ancestors actually slept. In 2001, historian Roger Ekirch of Virginia Tech published research drawn from thousands of pre-industrial European documents, diaries, court records, medical literature, prayer books, and he found evidence of something that had been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Before the Industrial Revolution, People did not sleep in one continuous block. They slept in two. The first sleep and the second sleep. They would go to bed not long after dark, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, wake naturally in the middle of the night for 1 to 2 hours, and then sleep again until dawn. Ekirch found references to this pattern in